We are back with the World Championship Series North American Challenger. We're moving into our second match of the day after an exciting first PVT and rematch from Cheesadelphia 9 from last weekend. My name is Fear Dragon. I'm joined here by Nathanius. How are the NA memes treating you?
Great. I mean, it's an ugly, sloppy, blood-shedding show of despair and terror, and that's what we expect at a WCS NA. Let's be honest, that's what you came here for. You didn't come here to watch perfect micro or perfect macro. You came here to watch these monsters, these animals get down and dirty with each other, fighting to claw their way out to the top 8 of WCS.
Yeah, that last game was everything I could have ever asked for. Really cool to see Rob being able to take a game off of Masa, because again, they did play Cheesadelphia, where he did get 0-7'd by Masa in both the winners, or losing in the winners bracket and also in the grand finals. But he was still able to at least take a game and has shown some pretty good form. So I'm excited. Masa is definitely always a bit of a treat to watch. But we're moving into our next series. It's going to be Silky versus Future, where we got two more memesters. I would say Future a little bit more of the memer here, but Silky, he knows how to meme as well.
Yeah, I think that strategy-wise, though, we should get some reasonably straightforward games out of them, right?
Okay, so I would say yes for Silky. I think Silky's probably more likely to play more par for the course, and not just because Zerg versus Terran.
What weird build do you think Future does? Like BC Rush?
I mean, it's not so much that it's going to be super weird, but yes, he will do things like BC Rush. He'll go for mech. He'll go for weird procs.
It's 2019, man. Mech is not weird.
Let me ask.
Everybody mechs.
Let me ask
I mech, you mech, he, she, it mechs. They all mech.
What is weird to do in TVZ?
Weird would probably be the only builds that I think are like kind of out there would be like Banshee Speed Rush, which we still don't see too often, or BC Rush or Liberator Range Rush. Everything else is pretty par for the course.
Yeah,
like we've seen it all. Like maybe Ghost Hellbat, but that build sucks. No one does that anymore.
Liberator Range Rush, you just don't see because of the maps these days, right?
It's pretty good on most of these maps. You just don't see it. You just don't see people do it because Spire play came a little bit back in with the last changes.
That's true. I would say Silky's I mean, okay, actually, it looks like we're remaking the lobby. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Silky, I usually end up seeing really start to prefer a lot more of the Hydra style or like Roach Hydra, that kind of stuff, especially since I think I see him facing off versus a lot of mech these days. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because Silky is one of those players that I think he slowly just started to sort of take the form of Jon Snow, if that makes any sense, for a while. Jon Snow was... I mean,
are we talking like Nick Cage, John Travolta face-off take over Jon Snow?
I mean,
or
face-off as in his
Freaky Friday take-off.
Peeling Jon Snow's face off.
It's not how it happened, okay? It was a medical qualified procedure. Jeez, man, don't make it sound so graphic.
But I will say, like, Jon Snow, he's graduated from school now. He's started working full-time and everything. He's still kind of carrying on over his existing skill, and we'll actually get to see more of Jon Snow tomorrow. But Silky was like that Psystorm Gaming American Zerg player that came up, was slowly, consistently getting better and better and better with a very kind of normal, standard, safe-ish style that with a few mix-ins of like aggression stuff. It reminded me just a lot of Jon Snow.
These guys' lobby chat is
no, they're memeing extremely hard right now.
We're going to be playing on DE Port Alexander for this map. To start off this best of 3, we're loading into it. Go back to my original point. I think the biggest strength of Terran versus Zerg right now is that there are no weird builds. Everything is very... Everybody does everything. Everybody mechs these days. Everybody does a little bit. We've seen more BC play come back into the fray. And I mean, I obviously enjoy it. For me, the best thing about Terran is the variety in this matchup in TVZ, which we are seeing a little bit more in TVP now as well after GSL Super Tournament. But we're loaded in. We're ready to kick off our second series here. You're watching the World Championship Series. On the bottom right, we have the red Terran player. He is Future.
He will be facing off against this fellow up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, the blue Zerg player from Psystorm Gaming. He is Silky.
Who would win? The future of the Terran race or one Silky boy? That's what we're here to find out, Fear Dragon.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't end up seeing Rob robbing Masa of a silky smooth future, but In this series, I do think that Future is sort of just like in theory a little bit favored versus Silky, just in terms of results lately. He won Cheesadelphia. That was a big, big hurrah for him. But I would say after that, Future still showed that he has some consistency issues. He's definitely improved on it a lot since last year, but has a little bit of a ways to go. He's still, especially in like a lot of the online tournaments and everything, has not necessarily performed as well. I think he is actually a lot better at offline events.
Yeah, this WCS was fun to watch because you get into the because it's like WCS NA, the number of players that get in and whatnot. I'm like, I hit quite a few of these guys on the ladder and whatnot. Let me tell you, in TVT, Future's got to work on his anti-BC rush, man. I'm just putting it out there. When Terran plays BC rush Future, he doesn't handle it as well as some of the others, and just gotta batten down the hatches there, man.
Okay, well, tip for anyone that hits Future, I guess. BC rush apparently decent against him. But Future, I think one of my favorite things about him is, and this is something that just gets said about a lot of Terran players, but I would say especially about Future, he is one of those Terran players that loves to get in his opponent's face. He's not just like one of those, okay, let me just take you to the late game. He is one of those, let me really try and mess with you. I want to throw you off your game plan. I'm going to get in your head a little bit. Kind of like, in some ways, a lesser version of Masa from the whole mind game perspective. He really does enjoy getting into those, though.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this one goes. I'm expecting mech play. Well, one of the games for me that stands out from Future, I think was from WCS last year when we were in Challenger. Future had a pretty cool mech game. Man, I believe it was on Cerulean Falls, so we might have cast it. And he had a good mech setup versus a Zerg player, and he actually mixed in a lot of ghosts with it too, which we don't see terribly often. It's one of those things like mech players always just say we can't afford ghosts with mech, and really you can't if you're going for like ground and air, but I think he had a mostly ground composition and then just like mixed in a lot of ghosts with that instead of going for like big Liberator play. So I like the variety. I want to see what he can do here.
Nice micro so far, keeping that Reaper alive despite Zerging the speed finishing up. Silky just gonna use his links to stay at home, push anything back, but he only got up 4 lings just to push the Reaper.
This is also the first time that we're seeing a player in WCS using the Leviathan Zerg skins. These are the ones that you would see on your units if you were playing Zagara in co-op.
How will Future be able to tell if that's an Overlord or if it's a drone?
Well, thankfully, through the power of magic and technology in the year 2019, the players do not actually see the skins in the game. So
oh, wow.
That's how we have brought you the ability to see what they want to be seen as, but the players are more like it's a shallow hell scenario where they only see the true selves of the units that they're fighting with on the battlefield.
I like that analogy. We do have a 3rd CC on the way, by the way, for Future. Now the starport and everything's finished up, and the Hellions are moving around the map, poaching around, looking for lings, looking for creep that they can clean up, but not finding a whole lot, and the Overlords are keeping a tight eye on all of those Hellions, not really finding any opportunities to move around, but a bunch of the lings just leaving the job to the queens at this point, saying, yeah, you guys got this. We can move out. We can look to try and put some pressure on, and he starts sharking around the south side of the map, ready to move in and maybe look for a lower depot.
Queen's decent units. I mean, he's basically just running back and forth, and he's like, oh my god, that's a wall off? Indeed it is, sire, but there's a lot of surface area for that command center exposed, and you're totally willing to sack these lanes if you think you can get him to cancel it, but not able to do so. The other SCV comes up, so he's good. Overlord hunting is still there. And finally, the queens leave a small gap, but there's Zerglings too, so don't matter. Ain't nothing but a thing, baby.
Oh man, that almost could have been the sickest trap there, because if Silky had just gotten there a little bit faster afterwards, those Hellions actually would have been trapped inside of the wall, and then the lings would have gotten surrounded from the other side. But Future makes his way out of there in time. We got Lair on the way. We got the Baneley Nest on the way. 1-1 on the way for both of these players. Everything looking good, solid, and standard. No crazy shenanigans happen just yet.
No, I do like how the tenacity of Future, really trying to key in on a weakness or a point where he can dive those Hellions in, because he's playing bio behind this. He's building Marines, he's building tanks, he's getting bio upgrades. The Hellions are not really, you know, it's like they're not really a part of his future. He's ready to break up with them whenever the time arises, because he's, you know, that's just not where he's emotionally invested right now. He's got options, exactly. He doesn't want to tie himself down to these Hellions at the start of the game. That's ridiculous. So we're expecting to see him throw them away, as a young man is wont to do. But there is some value in keeping them because Hellbats later on be a decent soak. We've already seen that kind of used in our TVZ earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, we already have that armory starting on up as he gets ready to start up 2-2 along the same time that 1-1 finishes up. We got a Spire on the way there for Silky, though, so it's going to be that Ling Bane Muta that we see so often. Future's getting ready for this push. He's looking for maybe the position of a 4th base or something. He scans forward and sees the Creepos over there and the 4th base just getting planted down now.
The 1-1 timings for both players are very close, so upgrades don't seem like they'll have a huge impact on this fight, but the Zerglings kind of getting up close to the Marines. Now this is where you bring those Hellions up for the support. Baneling speed is almost done. There are 9 Banelings on the map. They're going to waddle their way forward. You do want to wait for speed before you make a move here. Armory is almost done, so you can make those Hellbats in just a few seconds.
Yeah, speed another 20 or so seconds away, though, and now we got those Hellbats made. The Hellbat's going to be able to absorb a lot of the damage. Here
Target
come
the Banes. The tanks are not shooting the Banelings. Big mistake there, and all the Marines get cleaned up. Silky is going to smack Future back, and Future will have to recuperate. He did have his 3rd base landed. He's getting some extra racks. He's going into Widowmine production. I'd like to see a 2nd factory with Drilling Claws. It is that good. And wow, we stepped into a time machine Fear Dragon. We're going to have Ling Bane Muta versus Marine Mine.
Biomine, going to be fun.
It's really good, except it's really bad if you don't get Drilling Claws, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
In my opinion, Drilling Claws is a good upgrade.
It is.
Your mines burrow fast, and then when they shoot, they're invisible, which is extremely important for their survival.
Yeah. He did just finish up his stim and combat shield, so he could maybe swap around that tech lab to get the Drilling Claws upgrade at some point. But the Muta's going to make their way along the north side of the maps and dive into the natural, see what damage they can actually end up finding here. And there are a handful of Marines.
Oh,
that's
debated. Nice.
Oh, okay, a couple of Mutas going down there. That does suck. 4 Mutas. Wow.
Yeah, no, that was sick. That was a really good catch. Now, these Banelings catch these Marines, but they load up in the medevac just in time to get away. That's really big, because the more gas that you spend replacing Mutas, unless he's already planning on going mass Muta, in which case he's just slowed down. But every bit of gas that goes into getting a decent number of Mutas just to fight and harass and poke with means less Banelings. So that means Marines can do better against the Lynx. Good focus fire grabs a few of the Banes, and he's just going to pick up and get out. Yeah,
one thing I do have to compliment Silky on is that he's gotten some pretty good creep spread going. All of his bases have a good bit of space in front of him, so that it's going to take some time for Future to work his way over to the actual hatcheries. It does mean that Silky has more time to get up more Banelings, and kind of that whole thing that you were saying. If we end up seeing a big push out from Future, Silky needs time to mine more gas and get up more Banelings or Mutas.
Yeah. Well done so far here. He's got another little force moving towards the north side. I love how well tucked in that siege tank is. It'll be quite hard to get on top of it. He's going to try to clear up the creep here, but enough Zerglings are going to show up. He will not actually be able to kill any of these creep tumors.
Really, really nice cleanup there from Silky. Even keeps that very low health hit points. Creep tumor alive. Can respread the creep there. Hive Tech getting started on up. More Mutas still being made. Is going up to 16 now, which is enough that if you find small, like little drops or something, you can dive on top of them, not worry about the unloads. The Lings getting some good pickoffs here. The siege tanks are trying to cover the Marines' retreat, but still losing a lot. The Mutas are actually just directly fighting versus those Marines, which maybe is not going to go quite as well.
No, he does have +1 attack for the Mutas, getting his Hive. Lots of Zerglings streaming out to support this. I think the big problem for a Terran in this scenario is you tunnel vision on wanting to push because you're maxed, but he doesn't have that 4th base set up, and that's actually what allows this type of strategy to win, is securing the 4th, because at that point, every resource there is just going straight into Marines and Widow Mines, but that won't be the case here. He's going to dive in on top of the army. The Widow Mines are not able to drill in fast enough. A couple of them do get their shots off, but more and more Banelings are finishing, and it's basically just fighting with Bio versus the Banes. He's going to need to pull back, trying to split behind the mines, and it's not going to be enough. The Mutas and Lings will be able to overwhelm this wave of the Bio.
Yeah, more reinforcements come in from behind, but like you said, most of the situation...
Not a lot of Marines with this.
Yeah, most of the situational, I guess, presence there that Future had does get cleaned up, and now he has to lift up into the medevacs, abandon the siege tanks. The banelings are still alive. He tries to unload his stick, gets some decent trades. The Marauders absorbing some of the baneling hits. More Widow Mines burrowing from the reinforcements. He is starting to push Silky back to his side of the map, but he has to work his way through all of that creep again.
Yeah, getting a good bit of momentum here, not too shabby. Clears out a little bit of the creep. Getting closer. It's really important he didn't get pushed back to that third, by the way, because he's building his 4th command center right in front of it. So if he had been pushed all the way back, he probably would have lost that command center.
Baneling's going off on the Marauders. Not entirely ideal there for Silky.
Good
great
splits.
for Future.
Really good splits from Future. Very well controlled so far. Gotta say, super impressed here.
And the Baneling count, it's still there. He's got 18 Banelings now finishing on up, but he has to be careful about those Widow Mines. Oh, down go a lot of those Banelings.
Sick mine shots onto those Banelings. Future, now the creep is starting to go away. Future's able to get a good position, continuing to stagger the army forward. Marauders are up front to soak up the base. He's going to split the Marines behind once again.
Oh.
Very good splits from Future. The Marines still just barely pushing back down, now 20 supply. All he's doing is just rallying Marauder across the map towards this hatchery. And he should be able to pick this hatchery off. He is going to be able to get it. His 4th command center is done. He's floating it over towards the east side base. Very well done by Future. Now Silky has still done a phenomenal job in building up his resources, but he hasn't anywhere to really put that gas. So as he gets his minerals, he can just make more Banelings. We haven't seen him use the Hive to get any further tech. He's been kind of focused on this fight. Now the Ultralisk Cavern starts, but neither player has started their level 3 upgrades, which I think is a really important, influential part of this matchup.
I'm with you there. And also,
Is that a Bane train in the mineral line? Okay, just Mutas.
Yeah. I think Adrenal Glands would also be extremely helpful. I mean, he's so Ling and Baneling heavy. I think Adrenal Glands to help those Lings out, get some more damage, and there we end up seeing 3-3 finally starting up there.
Mutas come in on the turret again. They're able to get it this time. SCV's starting to die, and Future wants to try and fight the army that's waiting on the outside, but oh no.
Gonna be trading
Mutas getting on the production. Future doesn't have anything here to actually stop this yet.
Right before the Planetary Fortress finishes up, this SCV is going to be under attack from these Lings, getting a lot of damage done to both mineral lines. And Future is just going to be moving along the bottom left-hand side, but it's going to take him so long to get to an actual base.
This is the Zerg dream, is you get the Terran player to kind of like scarily run across the map, and you just mass Bane. And you're like, look, I will kill this army, and you'll have nothing behind it.
Yeah.
Command center under a lot of fire. Marines, not a crazy amount of them, and there's no medevacs here, so every time they stem, it's permanent damage right now.
Yeah, he tries to cut off the Mutas with the rest of the army on the retreat, but the Mutas dart out too far north.
Planetary Fortress, and they say, thank you, next.
Okay. Finally gonna get forced back, but not before he kills 20 workers, buys himself a lot of time to spend a bit of that gas bank and
that bottom all the time, right? His 3-3 is gonna finish up. He's gonna be at an upgrade advantage versus a Bio-Terran, which we usually don't see, because generally the Zerg has a harder time getting the tier 3 upgrades because they need the Hive. That command center is actually a solid pick-off target for Silky as well. If he just right-clicks on it, he may not be able to save it.
Moves back in with the Mutas also, just clicking down that planetary like you said, and the Mutas, they take some losses to the Marines, but do stay alive and continue to harass. The Ling's getting a lot of damage done, and Future
Silky's started to run away with this game. Like, Future has taken catastrophic damage. The 4th base not able to lock it down. I would say you want to get building armor and high sec to deal with Mutas, but it doesn't matter anymore. It's too late. He doesn't even have 3-3. Like you would prioritize the upgrade. And Terran player, you're not building Infestors or like warping in High Templar. You need like a couple of extra starports to start cranking out Ravens if you want to actually spend all this gas that you've accumulated now. And he's never going to be able to do that because he needs to start building mineral-heavy Marauders to deal with the Ultralisks.
Okay, engaging right before 3-3 is about to finish up. Okay, yeah, he's going to pull back, just trying to scare this army back a little bit further.
There's not enough medevacs here either. They have no energy. This bio army, if it stims again, is going to be at about 50% of its normal health.
Yeah, but this is going to be his best chance before Chitinous Plating, before 3-3 are all finished. Adrenal Glands does finish in the midst of this battle.
I think it matters, Sphere Dragon. He cannot really break this. This is so tough. He stims again.
Okay,
Banelings are killing Marauders. Okay, this army is at about 20% of its normal hit points.
Oh god, the Infestors are on their way out as well. I don't think Chitinous is there, but doesn't matter. The Ultras, the Banelings.
Oh god, make it stop.
Demolishing this army. Half of Future can't even stem anymore.
Silky takes game number 1 here. Man, I thought Future did a really good job with his splitting, his control, but once Silky got back to doing the harass tactics and Future tried to take the 4th base, Ouch.
It was in those 45 or so seconds, right, that the mutas just did so much damage as he caught Future as he was moving across the map, and then the Lings came in, and Future just kind of floundered, saying like, "Okay, I'm gonna push you," and then he gets onto the creep, and then he says, "Okay, I'm gonna go further south where there's not creep," but by the time he gets there, he's like, "Oh, there's no base here."
And you know what, Fear Dragon? Every single fight, all the Widow Mines died.
Yeah.
I don't even know that there was an Overseer at every fight either. You know, if you're going to play that composition, if you're going to play Marine Mine, his Marine Micro was great. It would have been a lot better if he was able to burrow his mines faster. It would have been a lot better if his mines weren't revealed after they shot. Because that also affects the way that the AI for the Zerg units goes.
Yeah,
right?
absorbs a few hits.
These units move in formation in StarCraft in small numbers especially, or they clump up in big numbers. And it's a lot easier to get those shots because when the mine appears, as it starts to shoot, that will draw units towards it, and they actually kind of encircle it in a way that spreads themselves out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate. I think a second factory there, like if he gets one as he's starting to make that big push and start his 4th command center, get Drilling Claws. I think you've got something a lot better to work with if you're not just losing your mines every time they shoot.
Okay, well, we're going to see if Future can make those adjustments in game number 2. Silky looking pretty strong. I mean, he had a pretty good early and mid game. Nothing really going super duper against his favor. Future obviously did very well with the harassment and everything, but it's not like Silky fell super far behind or anything.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the harassment being good. Like, he had a almost good parade push going, and that's really what that style hinges on, is you get momentum for just a brief moment, and then things start to snowball, especially for the Terran. But he wasn't actually getting many drones or anything along those lines with the early with that shove that he was doing. So we'll see what he's able to accomplish here on Cyber Forest as we are in game number 2.
Indeed. And this is just the second match of the day, so the loser of this series just goes down to the lower bracket match. They don't necessarily get knocked out of this group or anything, or WCS Challenger. Still got a shot at making it back through the decider match. So I know you were mentioning that you want to actually really see mech out of Future. I know that's something that Future is absolutely capable and pretty good at, but is there any particular reason you feel like it?
I just
like mech.
I just like mech. Good bio play is fun, but it is really punishing. And the key to success for a lot of Zerg players over the last year has been improving their run-by game, their Ling usage. I think, to me, it's the big thing that stands out for guys like Cyril and Raynor. And I find it unsurprising that both players' weaknesses against Terran are mech, because it's a little bit harder to get those types of plays in. And Terran players have found good mech compositions that work very well. Pool first in this game from Silky. With the timing on this gas, just kind of says to me that he was considering the possibility of proxy racks and didn't want to be completely blindsided by it. He could use it to do a fast attack, but nothing is set in stone. This map, you have the ramp leading into the natural, so that's not an exactly easy thing to do if the Terran player sniffs it out.
Yeah. Well, the Lings will make their way straight through the map. We'll see if he tries to circumvent the area the Reaper normally would go through. And they can try and get a snipe off on that SCV, trying to build the command center on the low ground. Reaper pops on out. There's a second Marine coming out behind it. That's just sort of the safety Marine saying, okay, want to make sure I don't die immediately just to any shenanigans. Don't want to let my reactor just get picked off immediately by a pool first. And the Reaper is going to miss this.
These Lings are going to slip around, though.
Yeah.
In that command center, it's
and
about
there's no wall
halfway done, but he should be able to delay it. That one Marine should just die instantly.
Yeah, oh boy.
No, raise the depot!
Oh boy, Marine's gonna get killed, and now a couple of SCVs might also lose their lives.
Delay the factory now. More SCVs go down that natural.
Oh, the Marine pops out on the side with the Ling, so it's gonna get picked off also.
And now these SCVs have to sit here. Wow, okay, it took him a while to kill the one building the command center there.
Oh, gets the SCV.
Goodbye.
That's 3 SCVs for 6 Lings. It's already
he's going
super
for another,
value.
He's going for another one. There's a couple SCVs here, very low on hit points.
Oh my god, the depot's still...
He still didn't raise the depot.
I guess at this...
I see.
No.
Oh my goodness. It's like a little... Oh, yeah, you ever play Run Ling Run? That's
yes.
what it feels like.
Just dodging the different SCVs running around. Yeah.
Yep. Great arcade map in StarCraft 2, if you haven't tried it.
And also, during all that time, this Reaper was really not doing a whole lot because Future was just busy trying to micro his SCVs around, making sure, and oh god, losing the Reaper like that. That also sucks because your opponent doesn't have Zergling speed, you should want to try and keep that Reaper alive at least until Zergling speed pops out. Now he's going to have a hard time sitting in the dark, especially since his Hellions are so delayed.
Yep.
Hard spot right now for Future.
Yeah, this is just one of those situations where nothing really went the way that you were hoping it would at the start of this game. Does not help that he is down 0-1, of course. And the loser of this match is going to go play against Rob, who we've already seen is a madman. And you know what? He definitely drew some blood from Masa, who is the strongest player in this group by and large. So to me, that does say that he's a huge threat for everyone else here.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen Rob do well versus Silky. Actually, some of the closest games that Future had at the Cheesadelphia he won were against Rob. Rob, I think, versus Future would be a really, really hype match.
Just to clarify, is this Rob the Tesla Toss?
This
Rob?
is Tesla.
Okay.
Rob,
he changed his name from Tesla Toss because he was a sick griefer, but I still love him.
Yeah. I get annoyed with him name changing, but he did say Rob was his final form, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Banshee coming on out. No cloak on the way. He doesn't really have the gas.
It's like a safety
right
Banshee. This is like the I don't want to die to a Ling Ravager or Ling Roach attack.
Well, there are.
By the way, there's a Ling Roach, maybe Ling Ravager attack
I was
on the
gonna
way.
say.
So the cloakless Banshee is an excellent call.
Oh, might lose some of these Hellions. Okay, does do a really nice job with that micro darting up north.
Hellions are a beautiful unit.
Sees the roaches and now knows, okay, time to bunker down. Third command center is on the way and is going to be a part of that wall, actually. We'll see how much time it is actually able to buy.
Repair, there you go. And then you repair and just have the Banshees, bring the Hellions to support, and just kill the roaches so they can't shoot over the wall and then just repair through it. You should be Gucci.
You know, I think if he just focused down the depot that was still being built or the command center with all the roaches, I think he could have actually broken through.
Yep. Instead, he gets nothing.
It's going to be really, really painful, but
he's going to get a few SCVs, but for what he's invested in this attack, that is an acceptable loss for Future because we all know 3 command center Terran is a beautiful thing. Now, if he does get through, a lot of SCVs are going to die, so it is worth it to lose as many as you need repairing. You will lose more if that depot breaks.
He does have more units still rallying across the map, but the depot is going to finally break down, and a few Lings will now make their way into the main base with 2 bunkers behind this as well. Silky is droning up as much as he can, but I do think, well,
actually very well done once they get through there.
8 SCVs. Do you think it was worth it?
For Silky?
Yeah.
I don't like it mostly because the tech position is very awkward.
Yeah.
Like Terran has Stim, so Future, he just gets out a few units, maybe a medevac or 2, and he should be able to just go across the map. What is the starport? Is it building a reactor right now? Okay. Well, I don't feel so bad about it for Silky anymore. Future is supply blocked. He's just now getting out of it.
There's a command center on supply block.
The command center on supply blocks him. But with combat shield and the medevac's going to be really late, there's a good amount of time for Silky to drone up and get his Baneling nest. His lair is done, so I expect to see him get a Spire after the way the last game went. Baneling speed is the only thing that he won't have for a while. That does give Future an opportunity.
Yeah, he's also not going to have nearly as much creep spread as he
only has 5
previous
queens.
games.
Yeah, he only has 5 queens. Maybe the Banshee Hellion gets some good pressure. I mean, if the Banshee Hellion does anything to this creep spread, then there's serious opportunity for the Marines because then they don't have to go as far to make anything happen.
Only 2 roaches alive from earlier. I like the transfuse to keep these roaches alive. They are actually pretty useful for just doing some minor zoning out.
Oh my god, the Overlord lives!
Woo. Nice transfuses.
You're the Overlord who lived.
Oh wow, the Viking also lives.
There's so many Overlords on the map, by the way. Look at the top side. Viking is fighting 1. There are 3 more Overlords in close proximity to where that is.
Imagine if he actually had creep spread to get the queens there to defend them. Oh, well, he's gonna try. Oh my god, he's gonna get it. Wow.
Parmesan.
The Banshees over here, though, don't really have a lot to worry about because Lair did finish up, but it's a Spire on the way, and the Queens are off of creep and very far out of position, so I don't actually think this 4th base is going to be able to finish. Queens are here now. Remember, there's no cloak. There is an overseer.
I mean, the worst case scenario is that this base is very easy for Future to kill later with Marines, and we already know how fast Marines kill a full health hatchery. A half health hatchery, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, there's not even creep over there right now. And even more of the creep getting cleaned up in the center of the map, where all the Lings and the Queens aren't. Lings without Banelings, especially Banelings without speed. Not exactly a fight that Silky wants to take right now. Marines all load up into those 2 medevacs, retreat on out for a little bit, and he's going to wait for some more of these tanks to pop out before he probably goes for his big push.
Yes, mutas are going to come out now. 2-2 starts up for the Zerg player as well. And let's see, this is not a crazy amount of Marines, but getting here on top of the Queens, killing these is huge. They're trying to get the creep spread going again. Denying those tumors is massive. Easy to focus fire down some of the Banelings as well, because as we've already said, the creep is gone. Yeah, I like this. He's trying to just drop the Marines straight onto the Banes. You do need to be careful, because now the mutas coming out are going to complicate that.
Yeah. He's going to end up probably losing at least one of the medevacs. No, Boost's actually off cooldown.
All I want is a second factory.
By the way,
he's building a siege tank. So, well, you know what? Build a couple extra tanks so you're comfortable. And while that's happening, get drilling claws. Just get drilling claws. Obtain drilling claws while you're building those siege tanks. Make your transition into Widow Mines. Your Widow Mines are going to be so much more effective. That's the only, I'm not like trying to tell him how to play the game. I'm just saying that it would help a lot in this scenario, because that was one of the big problems in the last game. He lost every single Widow Mine during every single fight. Now, if the Zerg player brings Overseers to clean them up, that's one thing. But, you know, you can kill the Overseers with your Marines as well when they come over. So the opportunity is there for the Widow Mines to really generate huge value. And that was one of the reasons why Biomine was so good back in the day.
Do you really think it's necessary with how many, like how
Yes.
invested he is in tanks to go for the mines right now?
Yes, because it's an easy transition. Because at some point he will want Marauders anyway, so he can just swap the factory with one of the reactive barracks. He can do it for Ghosts too.
Okay.
He's instead choosing to build Marauders earlier on, but siege tanks in general are just very vulnerable to the Mutalisk play. Siege tanks have always been bad against Mutalisks. Widow Mines are good because they actually do more AoE damage than siege tanks do. The Widow Mine does flat AoE damage from its contact point. Siege tanks are actual splash.
Yeah.
The damage goes down from the center of the target.
Consistent AoE versus big AoE, right?
Yeah, well, the siege tanks also take 3 times as long to siege.
Rest in peace, Armory.
They're not invisible at any point. He immediately re-walls with the Armory.
Oh, that's actually going to slow down 3-3.
Yeah, you can't start as 3-3.
Oh, that's annoying. More mutas still being made, by the way. He's going up to about 18 mutas, and his hive is also on the way.
But the true answer, Fear Dragon, is I'm just a cynic, and I hate siege tanks when I'm playing Bio. In fact, I don't really like siege tanks versus Zerg anywhere near as much as I love Widow Mines. I think Widow Mines are amazing versus army comps like this. So that's just my personal bias coming through. But if he makes it, if he makes it work, more power to him. Ling, run by. By the way, Widow Mines are really good at dealing with these too. And the Lings are going to shut down the economy at the 3rd. And he may actually see this coming in on the 4th base as well. Huge swath of Banelings coming by.
And he's trying to focus fire down some of these Banelings with the siege tanks. He does get a good number of them, but he's still going to end up losing this entire fight. Last Baneling has been cleaned up, so he's finally going to force his opponent back with some of the reinforcements arriving, but 23 workers killed off behind all of this.
Future SC and Orange Health Bio units. Name a more iconic duo, Fear Dragon.
Well, soon it's going to be Future SC and Red Health Bio units.
Yep. Press that T button. Keep spamming that T button, baby.
Oh, he's going to catch a bunch of these Banelings before they finish morphing.
Glass cannon strategy. Here we go. Banelings on creep, crashing through. The bio is very low, but there may be enough of it to plow through. 13 more Banelings are on the way. The Mutalisks are coming in to engage.
Mutas, I mean, versus Red Health Bio units, they can actually start taking some okay trades.
Maybe that is the great debate, is that they actually can't against these yellow orange health Marines, and that's what he's forcing him to do. The Banelings are trying to spread as they push out. Some of the creep between the bases was cleaned up, so not easy for Silky to make this push. It's insane because Future is like,
he's all in.
He's desperately trying to push this through, but he is at 66 supply, and as soon as Silky gains any sort of stability, this game is over. Stick a fork in it, Fear Dragon, because it's done.
We had 6 more Banelings also morphing on, and there's still creep spread over here. GG.
Silky with the 2-0. He's going to go up to play against Masa in the winner's match, and that means that our lower bracket match is set for Future against Rob. Should be a very disgusting Terran versus Protoss match.
I am so unbelievably hyped for that particular match, but this is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
It's really good. Big congrats to Silky. He is one of those guys, as many of these guys are, still in school. He's actually still studying. He is starting an internship in 2 weeks. He has finals in about a week and a half. So he's been busy, but he has also keeping up with his StarCraft practice, staying on top of things and looking good. So
yeah, I mean, he did very well. His Ling, Bane, Muta control, very good. I expect to see Masa play very differently if he brings the same sort of style to the table against him. I expect to see Masa do Drilling Claws and use the Second Factory to get Thors out against Mutas. It's a very standard thing that a lot of players do against this composition, which is why I was confused that we didn't have a Second Factory at any point, but oh well.
Yeah.
And that shapes up for, I think, a great winners match. And like I said, this next series is going to be down and dirty. This loser match is going to be a bloodbath.
I am super looking forward to it. Let's take a look at the remaining matches that we have left for today. It is going to be Rob versus Future. As mentioned before, this is going to be another match that I said was one of the closest ones at Cheesadelphia. So ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. That lower bracket match is coming up next.